Good evening. 22 years after Leroy McGill was sentenced to death, the state will finally carry out his execution tomorrow. Thanks for joining us for 12 News at 10. I'm Mark Curtis.
And I'm Kadiba Devine. Tonight, 12 News journalist Sean Rice has an exclusive look back at McGill's crimes through the eyes of the lead detective who helped put him away.
Former Phoenix Police homicide detective Tommy Kulesa remembers many details from the early morning hours of July 13th, 2002. That's the morning he and his fellow detectives responded to a large apartment fire in the Sunny Slope area of North Phoenix. He helped arrest the man who started that fire, killing Charles Perez and seriously injuring Nova Banta. All these years later, the detective tells me he believes those are the names that should be remembered.
We got dispatched out to a fire, a structure fire with people that have been injured inside, and the fire, we were told, was deliberately set.
Tommy Kulesa and a team of homicide detectives responded to this duplex in North Phoenix, burn scars marking the exterior of the units. Living inside as the blaze was set, Charles Perez and Nova Banta.
At the time that we arrived, no one was deceased yet. Charles Perez and Nova Banta had been taken to the hospital, and Jack Yates, another person in the apartment, I believe he had minor injuries.
Kulesa learned that a man named Leroy McGill had been staying at the duplex with his girlfriend. The housemates accused the pair of stealing a shotgun from them. Enraged by the accusation, Kulesa says McGill returned early in the morning on July 13th, 2002, and set Perez and Banta on fire.
Leroy McGill showed up outside the apartment with a can of gas, and he had cut up some styrofoam and put it inside the gas. And what that does is the gas dissolves the styrofoam basically, and it turns it into like a gel, like a gel-like substance. And what that does is it makes the subsequent fire, burn hotter and harder to put out. He then threw the gasoline on Charles Perez and Nova Banta and lit him on fire.
Perez would pass away at the hospital, and Nova Banta would survive with burn injuries to 75% of her body. 2 years after his arrest on first-degree murder, McGill was convicted. Court records say the jury deliberation lasted less than an hour. At the penalty phase, the jury then sentenced him to death.
Do you believe that what Leroy McGill did that morning is worth a death sentence?
I'm of the belief that my opinion doesn't matter on it. I believe in a case like this, to me, the only people that opinions matter are Charles Perez's family, Nova Banta and her family, and Leroy McGill's family. I mean, even though he did what he did, his family is losing one of their family members. So that's the opinions that should be listened to.
After exhausting every appeal, the Arizona Supreme Court granted a motion for a warrant of execution for McGill back in March of this year. Kulesa believes people on death row should be afforded each of those appeals, but on May 20th at 10 a.m., when Leroy McGill is placed on a gurney and is put to death, the victims will be the only people in Kulesa's mind.
Leroy McGill has the ability to talk for himself right now. Charles Perez doesn't.
And McGill's execution will take place tomorrow morning at the prison complex in Florence, Arizona. I'll be a media witness inside the death chamber as Leroy McGill takes his final breath. We'll be live tomorrow morning in Florence for Today in AZ, and we'll have a full recap on how the execution went on evening editions of 12 News. In the newsroom, Sean Rice, 12 News.
All right, Sean, thank you. Developing tonight, Phoenix police are investigating deadly drownings that both happened in jacuzzis today. The first happened just before noon near 59th Avenue in Dobbins. The second was near 22nd Street and Lincoln Drive just after 7 this evening. In both cases, police say the victims were men. We're still working to learn their ages. Detectives are investigating both drownings.
Big changes may be coming to the Tempe City Council. The first round of results from tonight's runoff election are in, and right now, both incumbents are trailing their two challengers. Brooke St. George and Bobby Nichols lead current council members Burdetta Hodge and Jennifer Adams. Maricopa County elections could not provide an estimate for how many ballots are left to be counted. The next results are expected sometime tomorrow. The top 2 vote getters will win the remaining seats on the city council.
A Valley grandma who went viral for playing video games to raise money for her grandson's medical bills just had her home swatted. Police swarmed the area after being falsely told that she had been shot and killed.
She and her grandson sat down with 12 News journalist Chase Golightly to talk about the scary situation and how it isn't stopping her from doing what she loves.
She's known as Grandma Crackers.
I need to get some food for the cats.
The 81-year-old YouTube sensation, whose real name is Sue Jackwit, has more than 600,000 subscribers. She makes Minecraft videos to help pay for her grandson, Jack Self's medical bills.
The insurance company won't touch.
With the help of Jack and his brother Austin, she streamed for the past 15 days 24/7 to raise money. It's her first time doing something like this. And Monday night was another first for her and her family.
Did you ever think it was going to happen to you?
No.
Just after 11 p.m., they got a call from police.
We got a call that Jack shot his grandma and killed her, and that he was going to kill himself. And right then I was like, whoa. Right as I heard that, it was kind of like a punch to the stomach.
Jack explained that wasn't the case, that this was a swatting call, a situation where someone makes a false report to 911. It's a felony that has happened countless times to streamers all over the country. Still, police had to take the situation seriously. They say Queen Creek police in full gear surrounded their home, asking each person to step outside with their hands up.
There were like 10, 15 cops, all with riot shields, ARs. All of them had ARs. And bright lights that can see down the whole street.
Jack says they then started going through the house and then checked on Grandma Crackers, who was asleep. Her stream shows officers walking into her room, eventually waking her up.
They came in and one person took one arm and the other, and they just sort of escorted me out and they were apologizing. And there was a police lady, gorgeous, beautiful brown eyes. She was so sweet, but I think she could have kicked butt, you know, if there'd been a problem. I just wondered what my grandkids had done.
They say officers were there for 3 hours investigating and determined it was in fact a swatting call.
They're not exactly sure where it was from.
The family wondering who would ever do something like this to them.
Whether it's harm or they want us to get upset or they want to upset Grandma Crackers on stream, the police were so professional and amazing.
While it was scary, this gaming grandma wasn't going to let it stop her.
I've got to get up tomorrow. I can't stay up and stew about this, so I took a Benadryl and went to bed.
The next day, she was back streaming.
Well, it makes you, you think, they're not going to tell me what I can do. They're not going to make me afraid to do that.
Receiving thousands of comments from her viewers showing their support.
They've been so kind and they've been concerned about how I was. How are you doing?
While it's an experience they wish they didn't have to go through, it's brought their family and community closer.
I can't thank people enough for how kind they are to her.
Chase Golightly, 12 News.
Chase, thanks. Go Grandma Crackers. Queen Creek Police did confirm to us that they responded to the swatting call, telling us they'll provide additional details in the coming days.
The Peoria Unified School District has picked its second interim superintendent in just 2 months. Peoria Unified's first interim pick turned down the job. Today, in a 3-2 vote, the board tapped Talia Viston-Tainer. Viston-Tainer is for the role there. She'll take over in June. The district has been at the center of multiple controversies after multiple teachers were accused of sexually assaulting students. Today's meeting drew parents and advocates who didn't hold back.
Our first duty is to protect kids so we can educate kids. When your parents don't believe that you're being truthful and honest with them, they don't trust you. And we're just in general in a non-trust society, right? That's impacted when you call for things like this.
And I feel like this district is trying to basically put everything under the rug and move on and protect administration and teachers over kids, and that's not okay.
The board itself remains at odds over how this was handled. The district's search for a permanent superintendent will soon get underway.
Somewhere up on Camelback Mountain is probably the last place you want to be when you're attacked by a swarm of bees. But that's what happened to 8 people today. Rescue crews responded to both the Echo Canyon and Cholla trails just after 9 this morning. All 8 are expected to be okay, but one was taken to the hospital for treatment. More than 50 fire personnel helped get everyone safely off the mountain, and both trails were then closed for the rest of the day.
Well, the numbers are in. New tonight, this year's WM Phoenix Open raised a record amount of money for charities all across Arizona. The Thunderbirds who organized the tournament say that they raised over $20 million. This is the fourth straight year the event set a fundraising record. Since its founding, the WM Phoenix Open has raised more than $246 million for local charities.